we are tracking, and I'm going to trigger the mutual legal assistance between the United Kingdom and Ghana for us to be able to lay hands on those properties. Now, we also know we've been following the bank transactions very closely, and we know that on February 11, 2020, they made a 16 million fixed deposit from the payment received from BNC Security. This was from the initial payment of 27,100,000 Ghana cedis. On April 3rd, 2020, Mr. Dubois alone withdrew 7,250,000 Ghana cedis, okay, in cash. He withdrew that in cash. This payment came out of the second transfer of the 21 million from BNC National Security to BNC, his private, company. On April 24th, 2020, 1.5 million cash withdrawal was made. On the same day, he made payments to a real estate company to the tune of 1,566,000. So you see the coincidence, okay, of the transactions that were taking place. Then February, for him to make the deposit for the, we had given them bail conditions from EOCO, he and his wife and the other suspect. Now, the reason I'm not mentioning the other suspects is that for purposes of our strategy, and if they are listening to me, they should take this very seriously, the other suspects. For purposes of our investigation and prosecution, okay, we may have to use some of them as prosecution witnesses. If they give us the offer, fine. If they don't want to cooperate with this evidence, I don't see how they and the suspect will get out of, being convicted. But of course, they will have to be, their guilt will have to be proven beyond reasonable doubt. So I'm not being presumptuous, but we have all the evidence from what you can see from the enumeration that we have all the evidence, including receipts of payments and withdrawals, slips and so on. So this is for suspect Edubohen and his wife. Now, I want to say something briefly about the oral investigations. Now, in respect of oral, significant work is going on in relation to the investigations of the allegations of looting of state resources contained in the oral report submitted to me a few weeks ago. In view of the fact that these matters are still under investigation, I will not go into the details as I have done with the case of Edubohen. But I can confirm that investigations will conclude in the National Service and SkyTrain scandals by the middle of April for prosecutions to begin. In the National Service scandal, 8 suspects have been interrogated, and a good number of them have started singing. They are cooperating with our they've started singing, literally. Yeah? So we will give you details of their songs at the appropriate time. In view of the fact that, so indeed, we now have evidence of payments that were made into the accounts of the top executives of the National Service by vendors, private vendors, and staff of the scheme. We also have evidence that in November 2024, and listen to this carefully, the CEO of the National Service Scheme and others paid a Ghanaian MP to kill the story in the media and to defend them. Now, this is a developing story, and more will come out very soon. In respect of SkyTrain, we can confirm that the 2 million was paid at the request of the chairman of the board of directors of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, that is GIIF, Prof. Ameya Ekumfi, and then Mr. and then the CEO, Mr. Solomon Asamoah, who is currently hiding in Senegal. We tracked him first and noticed that he was in South Africa. So he left Ghana somewhere around February 2nd, the 2nd of February. to South Africa. So we were monitoring him in South Africa. 3 months to come to Ghana, very much like Ken Oforiatta, right? It reminds me of, there was no board approval. There was no board approval for a transaction, and the conditions precedent to disbursement had not been met. Of the board of directors within the period that this transaction occurred. And our perusal of the board members said that they did not have knowledge of this transaction. In fact, there was one of the minutes where one of the members questioned why the GIF was in a hurry to make payment for this transaction. And no, answer of any significance was given to him by the two persons who, schemed and transferred $2 million of taxpayers' money to a Mauritius company. In fact, we tracked the company to Mauritius, and a lawyer in Mauritius has confirmed to us that it is non-existent. But that's also, a developing story. Now, the money, you see, if you are buying shares in a company, okay, you are buying shares in a company, that's your equity contribution to that company. The money is supposed to be paid into the share account, the shares account of that company. But the money was given to Africa Investment Holdings, okay? And when, it was paid, we noticed that Africa Investment Holdings was paid 100,000 United States of American dollars as the GIF's contribution to equity. And then listen to this. 1.9 million was paid to Africa Investment Holdings as share premium. Now, when you are paying for share premium, for those of you who are accountants and lawyers, well-versed in corporate law, share premium is not paid for nothing. It is paid for the performance of the company or the growth of the company and so on and so forth. So the company must have a certain track record, okay? But maybe they know something that I do not know. And in the course of investigation, we may know why. Maybe there is some other principle for paying a share premium, to a company, an SPV that you just incorporated, all right? And I believe that the accountants will confirm that with share premium, it's easy for the directors to take the money than when it is when the money is in the actual share account. So it can tell you that this one, that shows that they are innocent. I will not go to court. I told this country that I will not take anybody to court unless I am convinced that there is evidence to prove the guilt of the person beyond reasonable doubt. And as I've laid out, you can director, and especially the deputy director in charge of operations, Raymond Acha, he led the operations. And on a weekly basis, we met, got briefings, himself, myself, and my deputy, and the team. We got briefings, we didn't talk about it. Grand media interviews on investigations that are unfolding, all right? Unless you have grasped the evidence like I now have on SkyTrain, and I believe that if I took those two, cases to court, I will obtain a conviction. That is why I'm telling you about them. But free Wi-Fi, okay, and the rest of them are still under investigation. So we are not talking about them. It was a crime scene on a constant and a regular basis on what is happening with respect to our investigations. We are working, it's like a thriller in Manila. Please brace yourself for a rumble.
So the Attorney General will now field questions from journalists present and media representatives. In order that we have an orderly framework within which to work with, of 5 questions. So please step forward if you have a question. There's a microphone behind you, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Darrell Alantego.
My name is Kweku Asante from Joy FM and Joy News. This one on Mr. Dubois and the wife and the other suspect. You tweet on what has been referred in some sections of the media as a raid on the former Bank of Ghana's governor's residence, and what led to that. We understand your office did authorize that. Thank you.
Regarding what is
mentioned, accounts belonging to him and other companies. I want to find out if there's been you've officially applied for freezing orders to those banks to ensure that the coffers are not emptied, even though you've served a warning. And secondly, the Deputy Attorney General has mentioned, amongst many other things, that some members of Parliament are seeking to abuse immunity offered them while making defamatory comments in the presence of Parliament, and suggested there was...
After which we'll come back for a final round.
Yeah, thank you very much. On the first issue of accountability, they voted for us to hold those who have abused public office accountable. So yes, despite my busy schedule, I found to know what we are doing about holding people who have looted state resources accountable wanted. But I have said that I will not rush to court on any matter. I will not. That together with EOCO, we investigated Eduboahene. You see how diligent, like some other Attorney General did in the past, and subsequently was calling a witness to help the witness help him, make out his case. All right, so I won't do that. The pressure is there, but I'm soaking in the pressure together with my Deputy Attorney General, and the think all in all is about 160 million. Yes, about 160 million Ghana cedis bail. We are verifying the titles to vary the bail terms or release him and rearrest him. And then we will now go to court in order to meet the 20 call rates. You see, the MPP is a unique. They were arresting, that's what they said. This 20 investigations into a transaction in respect of which I have to check if I said for under Article 18. Now what an insult. Now what an insult. Okay? And that is okay? And that is what my Deputy Attorney General was unity. Right? And ladies and gentlemen of the media, the honorable minority leader for the work that we are doing, public business. What we are taking to court.
Sadoboy, I work for the Suva News Agency. Yes, there's always been this issue about. There's always been this issue about confidentiality concerning national security spending, and people have, asked for more transparency in national security spending. And in your investigation so far, have you been able to identify, some of the loopholes that these suspects may have exploited to grab state money like that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Mutala Inusa. I work with EIB Network, GH1 TV, and Star FM. Honorable Neo, in you answering one of the questions, you did indicate that, in fact, you touched on Dr. N.S. Addison's search. One of the issues that came to the fore was the fact that CCTV cameras in the home were destroyed by the men who visited the house. Can you give us some clarity? Was that what actually happened? And number two, on Eduboahene, you did indicate that you have ordered that he be released and rearrested in the hope of getting him remanded. Is it certain that when he's taken to court, he'll be remanded as you want happen? Thank you.
You again.
To the alleged or purported raid, can that be clarified as well with respect to what really transpired? And then that investigation, have you had that conversation? And I don't want to say, have you given the green lights because of...
It would mean that white collar crimes are very difficult. That some cases are still pending for about 5, 6, 7 years. What is the dispatch that you're going to apply to?
On the first one, regarding steps being taken to prevent the suspect and, in communication with the outside world, this is the first, in fact, some people called me and thought it was in relation to the issue. We are the companies that were and other transactions that in respect of the BNC transactions. All right, so we will take all to work and return all the proceeds. All right, so I'm open-minded when it comes to these issues. So if they want to do a plea bargain, because that is the essence of the plea bargain. You see, if for instance, do you want surveillance? Also, I mean, one of the let's say the finance minister or the person in charge of our, like exposing their expenditures. So regarding a mechanism for transmitting images or getting the images, but national security, the intelligence, all right, if there was a movement, and that is regarding rearrest, will remand him. Now, that is a burden on all of you and my surveillance. You know, if of him escaping, I'm sure from addition treaty with this country, either Oforiata, I have not yet had that CCTV issue. The burden of proof. Okay, myself, you will certainly in my mind that Raymond Acha, there are others to a crime scene to tell everyone, I will come after you. That if you engage in so this is a warning to everyone.
All right, thank you very much.